Alright, let me see. Stop Fabia going in, but send the new arrival to the empty shrine.
Ja.
Understood.
Das war's.
I'll go, but once I'm done, I'll need you to tell me how you know all of this.
Klar. So,
You,
Hi.
Tantalus, just as the ocean accepts the rivers of all the world, so this place accepts all the souls, but it does not notice the crowds that come.
was ist denn so deine Geschichte?
The bloodless shadows wander without flesh or bone. Some crowd the forum, some the house of the ruler of the depths. Others follow their trades, imitating their previous lives.
Tut mir leid. Ich habe keine Ahnung, was du von mir willst.
They never do. There is only a downward path, gloomy with fatal yew trees. It leads through dumb silence to the infernal regions. Help me? You cannot help me. I have seen things. A pattern, a terrible pattern. It is better for you if you remain ignorant. Pandora's box must stay closed. I'll say no more. The bloodless shadows. This is their punishment. You think you wish to know,
Ja.
but you do not. It is better for you if you remain ignorant. Pandora's box must stay closed. I'll say no more. The newly arrived are ignorant of the road before them.
Gut. Ist die große Preisfrage.
A golden bow. Feeling all right?
Ja.
I'm Lucretia, and I'm going to be straight with you. I'm not a physician. This is Nevia's clinic. I've just been filling in ever since she disappeared. I'm tired and out of my depth and miserable all the time. But I'd rather take this on myself than let one of you lot mess it up. My husband and I moved to Rome from Caesarea. He embraced the Roman way more than I would have liked, and turned into an awful philanderer. I would have divorced him and demanded the return of my dowry, but I knew he would sooner have me killed than give me my right. So I waited for the right time to take what was mine and disappear. And then the fires came. As he prepared to evacuate our villa, I gathered our most precious belongings, coins and gemstones, and the moment his back was turned, I ran. I could barely see for the smoke, and the streets were full of people trampling each other. I ran for the river, like everyone else, and leapt in. The next thing I remember, I was waking up on a riverbank, not far from here. It's all right. Say what you will about this place. At least my fornicating husband will never find me. And while there's no shortage of snakes here, at least with the golden rule, they have to try to be discreet about it.
Why do you look so happy?
Oh, this shrine was in use as a clinic long before any of us arrived here. Kind of strange to set up a clinic in the temple of the god of disease. But the god who inflicts a curse is also the only god who can undo it. So I suppose praying to Apollo for healing kind of makes
I
sense.
don't know what to say.
You don't need to say anything.
Gladly.
Just rest
Später.
up.
That's a shame. Thanks again for saving Julia's life. Apollo smiles upon you.
Thank you, Ulpius. I will.
Hi.
Shalom, friend.
Können wir über Scintilla sprechen?
Scintilla and I were in love. And then, 22 days ago, she went missing. All right. One night a few months ago, when I was cleaning Malleolus's villa, I heard a young woman singing. It was the most beautiful thing I had ever heard. I wasn't allowed out, so once everyone else was asleep, I climbed up the inside of the villa and onto the roof, just to see where that sound was coming from. And that's when I saw her. Standing in the garden of the magistrate's villa, I just sat there on the roof, listening to her with my chin on my knees. And for the first time in a long time, I felt hopeful. And then she looked up and saw me and she smiled. I knew at that moment the fates had brought me to her. And from the moment she asked my name with this warmth and curiosity, I knew I'd have done anything for her. And so for weeks on end, each night I'd climb out of the villa and into her father's garden. We'd hold hands and talk about all the things we'd do once we got out of here. Like having our own vineyard. And then one morning I woke up and everyone was out searching for her. They said she'd vanished in the night. All I could do was keep my head down and try to hide how beside myself I was. All I know is she loved me. And if she had known a way out, she would have told me. She'd never have taken her own life. And there's no way anybody could have killed her under the golden rule. I can't prove it, but I just know she's still alive somehow. Even now, it's as if I can hear her voice in my head, crying out to me. That can only mean one thing. Somebody abducted her. I have no idea how, or who would want to do something like that to such a sweet, lovely girl. But what else could have happened? My guess? Malleolus had something to do with it. He is without doubt the most evil man I have ever known. I have no idea where he'd be keeping her, but there is one room in his villa, upstairs, which is always locked. I've never seen the inside of it, and I haven't been able to steal a key without breaking the golden rule. But I have a feeling that if you could get in there somehow, it would shed light on a great many things. Really? I was sure he was hiding something in there. I feel like I've looked everywhere. At least everywhere I could get to. There are still two places I've never been able to reach. First, the palace. If Navia managed to get in, then I suppose Scintilla could have too. The only other place she could be is somewhere in the cistern network. I remember hearing that Dooley had been poking around in the upper cistern before he was locked up. So you could ask him about it, I suppose. All right, friend. Thanks for the chat.
Klingt gut. Ja. Das hat funktioniert.
A golden bow, just like Apollo and Diana's.
Don't believe a word they tell you.
Galerius fehlt mir noch. Der könnte aber bei Dooley sein, ne? Die zwei. Wo war er denn jetzt wieder? Ich habe schon wieder die Orientierung verloren. Dooley. Wo ist denn der Dooley?
Ah, a fellow traveler from a faraway land.
Moment, da ist noch die Priesterin. Halt.
Sorry,
Ah nee, das ist
I'm
Ulia.
still a bit out of
Lulia.
it. Galerius just saved my life. Was there something you wanted? Lucretia says I'm supposed to rest.
Ja. Ist
All
okay.
right. Goodbye.
Ich will dich nicht stören. Ich dachte, du bist die Priesterin. Da kommt man irgendwie doch noch hoch, oder? Oder runter. Kann auch sein. Ja. So. Ja, du lieber hier, ne? Der anderen Seite. Messingspiegel. Nee. Nee. Doch. Wo war denn Dulli? Nee. Geld. Müssen wir nochmal unsere Aufgaben jetzt gucken. Weggespült. Einen kreativen Weg in die obere Zisterne. Schwuppdiwflupp. Nee. Mist. Genau. So. Die Octavia ist ja hier am Beten. Oh. Na dann. Muss man gerade mal gucken, wie viel von diesen drei, sehe ich schon. 2 Stück. Die Tafel ist jetzt aber nicht da am Palast noch drin, oder? Also es würde mich stark wundern. Genau, Priesterin. Hi.
A new face. Ave, and may Vesta watch over you. I'm Equitia. To what do I owe the pleasure of this visit? Interesting. I'm not sure.
Wir kennen das ja schon, deswegen
Yes, I suppose that could be something. But then most of us do tend to carry coins on our person, don't we? What else? Yes, I understand.
Kennen wir das?
What
Gib mir
else?
mal.
Don't believe a word they tell you.
That's true. I know I wasn't entirely sure how I wound up here. It's as I feared. I think I understand what poor Livia has been going through.
Oh,
Let me ask you this. Did you happen to encounter a stranger in the forest before you arrived here?
ja, eine junge Frau.
And did you happen to catch her name?
Karen.
I see. And was this Karen by any chance wearing a hood?
Ja.
Because I've seen her before. There's something I think you should see. I think you'd better follow me to the baths.
Oh, oh.
But don't follow too closely. We can't have people thinking we're bathing together.
Ist das eine Falle? Das ist doch eine Falle, oder? Ach, das Bad. Ich dachte, das andere Bad. Nun. Jetzt bin ich mal gespannt.
All right, you're here. You were asking how I knew the young woman you met by the river was wearing a hood. Here, look down at the bottom of the baths. It's a little hard to make out in this light. If only we could see. Oh, what a marvelous lamp. But do you see it? Somebody waking up by a river in a forest to find a hooded figure with a coin. It's just as you described it, only your pronunciation is a little off. The name you heard wasn't Karen. It was C-H-A-R-O-N.
Oh,
as in
fuck.
Charon,
Charion.
the ferryman of the dead. Charon, who, in exchange for the right coin, helps the souls of the newly deceased cross the Styx, the river that separates the land of the living from the land of the dead.
When I dragged you out of the river, I thought you were never gonna wake up. I checked your pockets for ID, but all I found was some loose change. Feels like I've spent my whole life in a dead-end job with an endless commute. Sorry if I sounded cagey, it's just that I don't always get the best reactions when I introduce myself. My name's Karen.
There are a bunch of old stories about the gods punishing people by making them do the same futile task over and over. But on the bright side, at least you're not stuck in the underworld like they all were.
I'm so sorry, my friend. I'm so sorry. I take it you know what this means.
Das ist die Unterwelt. Das ist die fucking Unterwelt, wo wir drinne sind. What the?
I'm afraid so. It's all starting to make sense. All these people whose last memory was running from the fires toward the river. It seems none of them escaped with their lives after all. Perhaps we should be grateful they don't remember their final moments. It also tells us that the Golden Rule is the work of Pluto, the god of the underworld, and why his epithet has always been Father of Riches. I know it's a lot to take in, and you look as if you have questions, so I'll try to answer them if I can.
Okay. Also die Frage, kommen wir hier noch raus? Ich meine, wir wissen, dass es Pluto ist. Wir können dem Alten jetzt diese Frage beantworten. Das erklärt auch, warum er sagt, das könnte hier alles zerstören. Also sind wir tot. Charion. Warum sollte man uns das verheimlichen, ja. Sind wir tot?
That was my first thought too. In the old stories, the underworld was where the souls of the deceased were taken. But it was also possible for the living to reach it without dying, if they were particularly fearless. So I'm afraid I don't know.
Ich würde behaupten, wir sind nicht tot, weil wir können ja sterben, theoretisch. Und es gibt ja, also ich kenne mich nicht so gut mit der Mythologie aus, ein bisschen, aber wie sie schon sagte, mit der Münze, und wenn man Sharion die Münze gibt, den Wegzoll bezahlt, dann bringt der einen halt auch die Überfahrt, bringt einen rüber, und das gilt für Leben wie Tod.
Oh, I'm sorry. I keep forgetting you're not from here. If you were Roman, or even Greek, you would know these stories. Each of them is slightly different, whether the storyteller was Plato, Homer, Virgil, or Ovid. But they always involved the souls of the dead meeting a grim ferryman named Charon on the bank of a river. It was said that he'd help the new arrival cross, only if they could pay him with a coin, an obol. That's why it was once our custom to bury our loved ones with a coin in their mouths. Charon's obol, we called it. Of course, an obol was a kind of Greek coin, because we inherited this knowledge from the Greeks.
Das weiß ich sogar, das ist von mir sogar bewusst, tatsächlich.